Next, we are going to welcome to the stage a man who's on a bit of a world tour, who's been traveling around the world. This stop, of course, here in the UAE, on to Cyprus and to the rest of the world and into Europe. Please welcome from the USA, from Utah, Elder David A. Bednar, the member of the Quorum of 12 Apostles of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Please welcome him to the stage.
Your Excellencies and honored guests, I am privileged to be here today to address the theme of empowering youth for a tolerant future. I'm grateful for this invitation from the Ministry of Tolerance and Coexistence under the patronage of His Excellency Sheikh Nahyan bin Mubarak Al Nahyan, who has been instrumental in promoting tolerance throughout the world. It is inspiring for me to be here with all of you, a truly distinguished gathering of individuals who dedicate your talents and resources to the development of youth. It also is an honor for our church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, to be both a sponsor and a participant in this conference in the United Arab Emirates. For years, we have observed the initiatives and achievements made in this nation to promote tolerance, especially among young people and in families. In 2016, the UAE government established a Ministry of Tolerance and appointed a Minister of State for Youth Affairs. And in 2024, the Ministry of Family was created. We applaud these visionary initiatives to help youth realize their potential through service in and to their communities and society at large. My remarks today hopefully will illustrate how our church believes in the capacity of young people to be ambassadors of global peace and coexistence. In 2019, the Ministry of Tolerance and Coexistence, in coordination with Brigham Young University, an institution of higher education sponsored by our church, and the UAE University College of Law, organized a conference titled Tolerance in the Context of Legislative and Judicial Systems. His Excellency Sheikh Nahyan made an important statement to the participants in that conference. He said, "We know that tolerance does not flourish without hard work. For example, my ministry and my country are focused on ensuring that the educational experience of our country's young men and women results in their understanding the important values of tolerance and incorporating those values into their attitudes and behavior." In the spirit of Sheikh Nahyan's comment, allow me to provide insights on the hard work done by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to empower young men and women around the globe. I represent a faith with approximately 18 million members living in more than 175 nations. My intent today is to share with you briefly what our faith does around the world to empower our youth and young adults. Perhaps our experience in promoting a tolerant future will provide insights for and applications in your respective spheres of influence. Now, one initial observation as I begin my message. In the ideas I present, I am not suggesting that our church has all of the answers to the monumental issues we are facing. And I'm not suggesting that we perfectly apply what we know and have learned all of the time and everywhere, but we are trying to learn, consistently improve, and more effectively serve the young men and women of the rising generation. We also strive to engage with governmental and interfaith organizations like those of you here today to share what we are learning and to learn from you. Our church focuses on helping young people to learn, to act, to serve, and to become. I will address these 4 topics briefly in this order. Joseph Smith, the first president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, once was asked by a government official in the 1840s how it was that he was enabled to govern so many people and to preserve such perfect order, remarking at the same time that it was impossible to do it anywhere else. Mr. Smith responded, "I teach them correct principles, and they govern themselves." This is extraordinarily important to what we do. I teach them correct principles, and they govern themselves. Our first focus is to help our youth learn correct principles for themselves. A principle is a doctrinally based guideline for the exercise of moral agency and judgment. Principles provide consistent direction and standards as we press forward in our lives. In 1965, our church published a pamphlet entitled "For the Strength of Youth," a guide to help young people make wise choices. The pamphlet has had 8 editions since 1965 to provide ongoing and evolving guidance as the world changes and as youth face new socially driven temptations and challenges. This pamphlet provides youth with moral standards grounded in religious and faith-based principles. As we help youth learn and live by these principles, we also strive to help them understand they are empowered to make decisions and are accountable for every decision they make. All decisions have consequences. An example of a principle we teach our youth from this pamphlet is that all people are your brothers and sisters, including, of course, people who are different from you or disagree with you. One of the purposes for helping young people learn this principle at a very early age is to help them understand that a specific skin color, nationality, social class, religion, or other factors do not make one individual better than or superior to another. This principle promotes an understanding that all people are equal before God and should therefore be equal before all men and women. By learning to live in accordance with this guideline, we have found that our youth become increasingly tolerant of other people, regardless of the position or status of those people in the world. They begin to see all individuals as part of a great human family. The application of this principle has fostered greater tolerance and also strengthened our youth to remain true to the fundamental spiritual beliefs that are taught in their homes, while at the same time respecting the beliefs of other people. To assist our young people in the ongoing process of learning correct principles for themselves, we invite them to be agents who act on what they are learning and not just objects who are acted upon. One of the best ways to promote such action is by trusting and guiding young people to lead. The more youth are engaged in and responsible for doing good and leading others, the deeper their understanding of and commitment to correct principles becomes. As young people move beyond a passive attitude of waiting for others to tell them what to do, we help them become leaders who influence others to govern their lives according to correct principles with discipline and strength. Hundreds of thousands of our young women and young men around the world, even as young as 11 or 12 years of age, provide leadership and accomplish remarkable results. They fulfill important responsibilities such as planning, organizing, and leading activities for themselves and for other groups of young people. They teach classes and they gain experience with communication skills. It is not unusual, for example, to see our youth planning and executing significant community service projects. In 2024 alone, thousands and thousands of Latter-day Saints, young people, participated in a global youth services month in 17 different countries. Projects included supporting refugees, making hygiene kits and donating them to family resource centers, working together with other churches to plant fruit trees and vegetable beds, landscaping for a prayer garden, and cleaning up city parks, just to name a few. Our young people often collaborate in such projects with youth groups from different backgrounds and faiths, which provides real-life experience in becoming respectful, tolerant, and loving towards others. Service ultimately is where learning and acting come together. Besides helping youth to learn correct principles and providing support as they exercise agency to live moral principles, we also encourage them to enrich their learning and acting by serving. Helping our youth to focus on serving and blessing other people instead of just on themselves facilitates the internalization of correct principles in a powerful way. Serving is imperative to learning tolerance and compassion. An example is our church's program with more than 80,000 young adult volunteers serving in 150 different countries around the world and speaking more than 70 different languages. These volunteers, mostly from 18 to 26 years of age, leave their homes to serve from 18 to 24 months. When they return home from their assignment, they speak fluently the language of the country in which they served. They love the culture of the land where they lived, and they become authentic supporters of the people whom they learned to love. Some of the volunteers even return to these countries as executives, teachers, and skilled workers, eager to collaborate and contribute to the nation. Through service, youth can become more tolerant, learn to respect and even love people different from themselves, and become strong representatives for countries and cultures significantly different from their own. A life focused on self will never permit a person to learn and live correct principles, understand his or her true identity, mature in tolerance, or become a peacemaker. Through learning, acting, and serving, the youth of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are growing step by step toward becoming, according to our faith, true disciples of Jesus Christ. They love and serve. They become law-abiding citizens of the countries in which they live. They respect others' beliefs, become peacemakers, and focus on what they have in common with other people rather than emphasizing the differences. They also become a strong link in and seek to strengthen their own families. And in time, they marry, have families, and transmit the beliefs and practices they learned as young men and women to a new generation, contributing to society through stable and cohesive families. To learn, to act, to serve, and to become also helps youth focus on seeking personal development in all areas of life: spiritual, social, physical, and intellectual. They develop integrity and promote the well-being of communities and families. Russell M. Nelson presently is the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He repeatedly has taught the members of our church about the importance of civility and becoming peacemakers. I conclude my message with some of his recent teachings. We can literally change the world, one person and one interaction at a time. How? By modeling how to manage honest differences of opinion with mutual respect and dignified dialogue. Let us as a people become a true light on the hill, a light that cannot be hid. Let us show that there is a peaceful, respectful way to resolve complex issues and an enlightened way to work out disagreements. The Lord will magnify your efforts beyond your loftiest imagination. I ask God to bless all those attending this conference, that we will be inspired to take meaningful steps towards tolerance and peace in our respective spheres of influence, whether those areas of influence be large or small. Every act of kindness matters. Thank you for your gracious attention.